Great play from Buffenberger. I mean, he
Yeah.
really laid it on the line here. Gutsy stuff. And the problem for him is Albert's got the hand he wanted him to have, and 27% of the time he's still going to go in the toilet.
Yeah, it's very gutsy, really, by Jeff. He knew that Albert was going to call him, and you know, he just bet that he didn't have an ace. Yeah, fair play to both players. I think both players have played this hand tremendously well.
Buffenberger, club 4. It hasn't hit. 2 pair for Buffenberger. He doubles up.
Great stuff.
And he looks like the favorite.
He's definitely the favorite. Yeah,
He's played very well.
He's an excellent player. I mean, he's one of these guys. I play with him a lot, and I just can't quite figure out what's going on there. But you know, he gets results.
250,000, and who else would have moved in? Second pair.
Yeah, that looked like a really tough spot for him when that ace came off. I thought Albert made a really good bet, and you know, he had some outs and a good semi-bluff attempt, and Jeff just sussed it out. Very well played by Jeff.
They may not have that many poker laurels to them, but I mean, Garbaz he's kind of a legend in the UK gambling circles, isn't he? It's not that really far apart.
Well, when the spread betting industry started, and you know, David was hired, I think, from a City background to come and work in it, and well, he just took it by storm. I mean, he was like head football and cricket trader for Sporting Index, you know, the largest spread firm, and he was just fearless, not only in his own gambling, but also in, you know, betting with the company's money. And
this is not good for Albert. He's gone all in. Who could blame him with the 16,000? It's an auto call for Piers, and pair.
Yeah, Albert's looking in a bit of trouble now.
This is
battle of the short stacks.
I think actually it's the first bright spot of good news that Piers has had all night.
So far, yeah, he can get himself back up to about his starting stack if he wins this one. Oh, there you go.
The under pair has been sort of the soup of the day tonight.
Not really been Piers' night so far.
No, well, he's pretty much been, not like he's gotten bad cards. He's just gotten bad flops. Piers is seeing how much it's going to cost him. Albert's going to end up with 34,000 if the 8 doesn't come.
Nothing against Piers, but I'm kind of pleased to see Albert get back into it. I think Albert's a lot of fun, and you know, he's a kind of interesting fly in everyone's ointment.
Man, they couldn't hang.
So the appetizer course is finished. 2 and 4,000 done, and Buffenberger got the most of them. Garbaz and Boatman still fair enough. It's going to be interesting, isn't it?
I see Albert there dropping down to 55% bet frequency. That normally indicates he's gone for a loo break.
Well, under the gun, ace-7. This is that's the best hand Piers has moved all in with, but it's a much different sort of position, and I guess it's a bit unlucky, but this is what happens, isn't it, Neil?
Well, you know, I did say to you, I think Piers has got a strong right arm, and he's proved it here, but unfortunately he's run into Dave's ace-king. Obviously Dave can't pass. He's just deciding whether to re-raise and isolate or just call.
What would you recommend for Garbaz?
Normally I like the isolation play when it's a very short stack, but basically if he isolates, he's more or less got to pot commit himself. And I think if he flat calls, it's very hard for someone to bluff behind him. The only thing, if he does flat call, if he were to find specifically queens behind him, he can end up making a bad laydown. So I prefer just moving all in here, actually. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Oh my God!
That wasn't.
I must say I don't recommend folding the hand. That may. Oh, well, there you go. He knew he was going to end up with a free roll against Barney. Well, that would have been interesting if Dave had moved all in.
Barney would have passed.
It would have been interesting to see whether Barney did fold or not. I guess he would have done, but he may not have done. In this format, you know,
right?
Maybe it would have been right to take him on. But there you go.
That was an odd laydown for Dave Garbaz.
I'm flabbergasted.
It had something to do with that he must have thought he was in a race or something. Must have thought.
He must have misread his hand. I can't understand what on earth was going on in his head. I could never have laid that hand down. I think I thought the only decision was whether to move all in or flat call. I guess if he had a flat called, Barney would have definitely moved all in, and then David may have laid his hand down.
It's still a great spot for Barney, even though there's been a king out, and Piers is on the ropes here.
Yeah, he's picked up a backdoor flush draw, but yeah, he's shaking hands already. He doesn't fancy it too
one
much.
more race comes and we know he's bullshit.
Yeah, this is under the heading of these things happen. That's opened up the door for a split should an ace or 3 come.
Yeah,
but
obviously Barney having a king doesn't help massively on the split front. But
and the end for Piers, and good news for Boatman. Down to 4.
I knew you were thinking with a big ace there. I was thinking, oh God, now he's going to roll over a pair of fours and do the cheers.
God, Dave doesn't exactly want to tell what he did there.
yeah, Dave's just praying that none of these players ever watch TV.
Looking at that hand one more time. Piers was pretty much forced there. It was his decision, and
yeah, Piers obviously came with a plan today. I think it's a pretty good plan. He played tight early and then decided to open up on the 3-6 level. He got himself into a stack where he had no real choice but to keep moving all in, and he showed he had the courage to do that. He's just he's been unlucky to run into a couple of big hands there.
King plays in the end. I'll tell you, some of the biggest news here is really that Sapiano, Albert, is still in. I mean, you know, when he lost that big pot, you could really have written him off. He's actually, not only has he been hanging around, but he wasn't even 5th out. Or 2nd out even. It's folded around to Barney.
Cool.
Barney will kind of like his seat right now, as far as the chips on his right and the others on his left.
Yeah, I think so. Albert's, he hasn't had a lot of choice about, you know, he may have felt like he needed to stick his chips in the last kind of 5 or 6 hands before these blinds came. Oh, this is interesting.
Check.
Albert's managed to flop 3 of a kind.
9,000.
And he's a lively enough player that there's a couple ways that he might get a few more chips out of Barney here. I mean, Barney's ace doesn't look terrible, does it?
Cool.
Albert going for the nervous call. I mean, Barney can definitely put him on a whole bunch of things other than an 8.
How do you exactly make the nervous call? Do you have to actually shake your hands or just the chips?
Check.
Yeah, he looked nervous to me.
If Barney gets raised here, this is going to be difficult for him.
I think Barney obviously felt when the 3 came that his ace is probably winning. I think Barney thinks he has the best hand. If he bets on the end, he won't be thinking he's bluffing.
All in from Albert. And
about 16, I think.
This is a nice greedy little bet, isn't it?
18.
18 into, yeah, I mean, I guess Barney's got a call for the chance of splitting it, and, you know, also the king coming, you know, Barney may think Albert's betting, playing the board. I think Barney's probably going to call him. It's not too much money. He's got a few chips now, and
I bet more than my mentor on the flop as well.
Made the pot too big, says Barney.
How much? 18?
18,000.
What's in the middle?
I mean, among other things, obviously 51,000 is a nice stack for Albert, but if Barney
Just give
calls
us a
here,
walk, Barney. It's not enough
Albert's going to
if
end
you
up having
follow
about
the pot.
70K. Is there a chance that Albert's actually bluffing completely dry here, Neil? Could he put his tournament on the line with Nutton?
he can, but you know, Albert's
Got some of that.
Albert tends to bet when he's got something and check when he hasn't really. Having said that, you know, the king coming on the end, he you know, he does need the chips, and
I've got some of it. I'm just worried about whether you've got.
you know, maybe maybe he would bet out rather than have a split pot.
I do not believe you. Just pass. That's my advice to you, my son.
And there's history here. There is history here. Albert called Barney down to the final table in Brighton with ace-king. all the way, 3 bullets, and knocked Barney off.